After I got married, Gigi kind of grew up in a home where there was some drinking involved, and she wanted me to, after she stopped drinking and stopped doing things, she wanted me to stop, and I wanted to stop, but I guess I couldn't on my own by that point. I'd stop for 3 months, or I'd stop for 4 months, or I'd stop for 6 months, and I'd be back lying and drinking again. And we actually separated. She told me the whole time she didn't want a divorce, but she wasn't gonna have Blake grow up in a house, in the situations that, she grew up in, having to come out and look for me and wonder, if I was going to make it home or that kind of thing. So we separated, and I wasn't going to make him leave home, so I wound up being the one that left our home, and I went back to stay with my parents, And so it all started, the meat of this testimony all started on a Wednesday. I hooked up with some friends on Wednesday, and we started doing a drug called crank. And it keeps you awake is the major thing that it does. And we did that crank Wednesday, we did it Thursday, we did it Friday. Saturday night we went to a Aerosmith concert at Lakewood Amphitheater, crank. This whole time I'm up and awake, not sleeping at all, drinking, smoking pot, and doing crank. Went to the Aerosmith concert, came home from that, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, more crank. Sunday morning we got up and went September the 27th, September the 27th, went to the Falcons Denver game. Still up, still 5 days now, on my 5th day. Doing crank, Falcons game, get back to my buddy's house. Well, they decide, they're gonna do some more crank, and I'm at the point where I don't really know how to explain the feeling that I had. I couldn't think straight, I couldn't really see all that great. I was just kind of probably best description would be just a shell, is what I felt like. And so I told him, I said, I gotta do something else. So I got in my vehicle and I went back to my mom and dad's house. Of course, when I felt like I needed to lay down. When I laid down, I felt like I needed to sit up, and I sat up, and I'd sit up and feel like I needed to lay down, so I'd lay back down. And it was just a crazy back and forth thing there for a long time. I don't know how long. It might not have been 5 minutes. It might have been 30 minutes. But I wound up sitting on the corner of that bed. And first of all, I didn't mean to be praying, or I didn't mean to be, I don't even guess I meant to be talking to God. I was feeling sorry for myself. I was thinking, well, I've lost everything that means anything to me. I've just walked out and left my family. Blake's at home wondering when I'm ever coming home, and I'm crying and sobbing, and I feel like just a total disaster, and in that moment, I guess either I wound up talking to God or He wound up hearing me. And so there towards the end of the feeling, so I still sobbing and crying, I'm sure just trying to find a way to feel better about what I'd been doing. And not, like I say, not praying, not talking to God, not expecting anything from God. This is where it gets tough. I remember, just like it was yesterday, sitting on the edge of that bed. And this is how I know God's real. More than anything, I've seen God do many, many things since this time, but seeing Him do something, and actually Him doing something, knowing, out of that crying and pity party, I said, God, if you ever want me to be anything besides what I am right now, you're gonna have to help me, because I can't do it. And the minute I said that, I didn't no more get it out of my mouth than I was as sober as me and you are right now. It happened so fast that it scared me to death. And I didn't know what happened. I wasn't expecting that. I just was saying words, And God heard them words and knew, I guess, people have asked me, well, why won't God do that for me? I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't try to answer questions that, why is the grass green or the sky blue? But I know that in that moment, I went from being a messed up, couldn't think straight, to, just like that, just felt like I had never drank or never smoked or never done any drugs. And I kind of just thought about it a little bit, and I thought, well, what's happened? And so I wound up, I called Gigi and I talked to her, and of course, I told her, I said, I don't expect you to. I said, I'm not calling you to tell you all this for you to tell me to come home. I'm not expecting for you to just forgive me and everything be, fine. I said, but I'm changed. I said, I don't know why, I don't know how. I said, but I don't want that life. I don't want to do that. I want my life back. And she saw the change, and I went home, and we've got 2 more kids now, and like I say, I'll be the first one to tell you, and you know me, you know a lot about me. There's troubles in my life even now, but it's not something that's perfect, and it's not I think so many times that people think that when you accept Christ or something happens to you and God makes a change in your life, that it's supposed to be this great thing that nothing's ever supposed to happen again, or you're not supposed to make any mistakes again, or I make mistakes every day, and I know that there's people out there that may, like you said earlier, not believe in God, or may not really believe that God has the power that the Bible says He has. But I could never forget what He has done for me and what it means to me. Gave me, I went from, like I said, a dead shell to having my life back, my family back, more family added to that, and I'm just thankful. And I know that it can happen for anybody. If it can happen for me, out of all things I've ever done, out of all things before that day, I never did anything for God. I always expected Him to do for me, and He somehow did always do for me. He kept me alive through all of that. And then at my lowest point, when I needed help, all I had to do, I guess the whole time, was just ask.